Hi, I'm Sherry McGill, and you're watching Lessons Learned. Charm packs, layer cakes, fat quarters, jelly rolls. How much fabric is this? Well, let's make it simple. Let's figure it out. We have to do some math, but I've already done the math for you, so you don't have to do any math. A charm pack contains, like this one from Bonnie and Camille, Shine On. They always have the fabric line and the name and everything on there. We have 5-inch squares, 42 of them. So how much is 42 5-inch squares in yardage? And why would you need to know? Well, you may need to know so that you know how your project is going to come out. What size will it be? How much do I want to add? What if I want to put a single solid piece in between each of these squares, or make half square triangles? How much fabric do I need to match this to be able to double this yardage? Well, a 5x5 charm pack contains 0.69 yards of fabric. Well, you can't go to the fabric store or go online and order 0.69 yard of fabric. So what's the next thing up that you could get? Well, maybe 3/4 of a yard, 0.75. So let's just say a charm pack is about 3/4 of a yard. Not quite, but more than 2/3, which would be 0.66. How about a layer cake? These are 10 by 10 squares. Again, usually they have 42 pieces. This one is Cherry Blossom by Vanessa Vilrose and Linda Fitch. 42 pieces, and this one actually says 2.52 yards. That doesn't go with my math. My math goes by a 42-inch piece width of fabric. And it does vary. Sometimes fabrics are 40, so that might be why there's the difference there. But I come up with 2.78 yards is a layer cake, 42 10 by 10 pieces. So if you wanted to double this size for a certain project, or you want to put a solid in between, or do a pinwheel quilt where you add a solid or another print that's not in this line to make a contrast, you would need this much fabric, right? So that's 2.78 yards. Well, you can't ask for 2.78 yards. You can ask for 2.875 yards. That is 2 yards and 7/8. So more than likely you would just get 3 yards. So let's just say a layer cake is around 3 yards. How about a jelly roll? These wonderful little 2.5-inch wide strips that are width of fabric. Well, this Riley Blake one called My Mind's Eye from the Gingham Gardens doesn't exactly say how much yardage is on there like the layer cake did, to my surprise. The jelly rolls are 2.92 yards, so let's just say 3 yards. So if you're making another quilt and you want to add a solid color with this of an equal amount, you're going to need about 3 yards. So what about a fat quarter? Fat quarters are everywhere. You find them packaged like this, or sometimes they're just in little rolls and they're marked fat quarters, or just little squares that are packaged together, maybe in a fabric line. This is an 18-inch by 21-inch piece. And why is it called a fat quarter? Because here is a width of fabric piece. This is a 1/2 yard of cut fabric from a bolt. It has both selvages on the bottom. So this is 42 inches wide. So this is 18 by 42. So 1/2 of 42 is 21. So instead of asking for a 1/4 of a yard, which would be 9 inches by 42 or something like this is folded, so it'd be the length. You're going to get this size, but only one thickness. So just imagine your piece cut directly in half. That's your fat 1/4. There's also fat 8ths. A fat 1/8 is 11 by 18. So that's basically, let's pretend that this doubled piece is a fat 1/4. So this is your 22, so it's going to be this size. Imagine this as one layer of fabric. That is a fat 1/8, 11 by 18. There's also something called a honey bun that looks a lot like the jelly roll, and it is about half the size of this. Instead of 2.5 wide strips, they are 1.5 wide strips and width of fabric, and that is 1.66 yards or 1 2/3 yards. So you could actually ask for, if you wanted a solid equal amount of this to go with your project, you could ask for 1 2/3 yards. So there you have it. You can get solids in some of these packs. Like in this case, I do happen to have a white on white. It's not exactly solid if it's white on white, but you get what I'm saying. You can get solid colors or a variety of solid colors in these, not just the printed ones. So you could buy another one of these. It is slightly more expensive if you do the math again to buy in these pre-cuts, but they're very convenient and you get a usable piece of fabric, whereas when you buy yardage you have to actually figure out exactly how to cut that up, whereas with a 10 by 10 you can use it as is, a 5 by 5 as is. Your 2.5 inch strips can be sewn right into your quilt without having to actually cut that yardage. So there's a convenience factor there that will you know, make up the difference of the extra costs, because our time is worth money as well. So I hope that helps you take some of the mystery out of some of these pre-cuts. And I like to use pre-cuts. They're fun. It's a way to get a variety of fabric in one line without having to go to the fabric store and say I want a 1/4 yard of each of these, or I want a 1/2 yard of each of these, which would cause you to spend a lot more money than you normally would if you could just get this one layer cake. And they vary in price. These usually are around $40. These are around $35 to $40, and these are around $10 to $15. So you have to take all of that into consideration. Your time, what is it worth, and also already having fabric cut. My absolute favorite cut of fabric is a 1/2 yard piece. I love to go to the store and just get 1/2 yard with the fabric pieces. I find that if I'm shopping and I see fabric that I want, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it yet, a 1/2 yard piece or a grouping of 1/2 yard pieces will usually take care of a project. So that's something to keep in mind. And let me know down below what your favorite pre-cut is and why. And also in the description box, I'm going to leave you a free PDF that you can print off that will have all of these measurements on it, and you can just have it as a reference guide in your sewing room. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!